Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation. We found that a good conversation allows us to share what's on our mind, whether current events, what's grinding our gears, or our pet peeves.
It also allows us to share our top 3, a list of our favorite things on any given subject, most of which are highly opinionated. In closing, we share a good word. Solid friendships are encouraging. Even if we joke and give each other a hard time, our ultimate responsibility is to uplift each other.
Our goal is that you'll feel like you're part of the conversation, like you were in the studio with us, and that you feel encouraged after tuning in to our podcast. It's time to join the conversation.
Welcome back to Hardheaded Podcast. Hey, we're glad you're here. I'm your host, Chet Sears. Along with me, Matt, Amos, and Troy. 3-shot Trussell. We got an exciting episode for you today. We're going to talk about what's on Troy's mind. Jump over to top 3 resume don'ts.
Do not do this on your resume.
Do not do this for resumes.
Hey, when's the last time you have updated your resume, Matt?
Do you even have one?
2012 was the last time I updated anything.
Yeah.
I've never needed one.
Yeah.
So
He just shows a little leg. And they're like, who are you?
that's it. I've been able to make connections and meet people personally and just
Right.
fall into stuff. So
There you go.
Fall into stuff. That's funny.
Quite literally.
Yep. All right, Troy. Oh, then Matt is going to close us out with a good word
I'll take it.
from day 21. All right.
All right.
Doggone it.
Troy, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so the other day we got some walls built in our basement, and we're putting in a new bedroom and a laundry room and a podcast studio
Oh,
down there. Well, it's a little office, but it could be
studio.
a studio.
We got to name it studio something.
Right.
Studio.
Studio
T
squared studio. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we had this electrician come out and we were showing him everything. He's like, oh yeah, we can do this, move some lights, because the switches are kind of weird.
Yep.
And everything's, but he's like, yeah, to do it to code, we'll put this many on this wall, yada, yada, the whole 9 yards, right? So when he leaves, or right before he leaves, give him my information, email, everything. He's like, yeah, I'll get that quote right to you.
No, he didn't.
I was like, sounds great. It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, you hadn't heard from him.
Hadn't heard from him. So, actually, last week, I called him and left a message. Crickets.
Yep.
And then today, I called at like 8:30 in the morning. Finally got a hold of him. And he basically just said, oh, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Right.
Just too busy.
Yep.
And you're too busy to take my call and return my phone call.
Right.
And then he said, yeah, so I did pass your name along to this other guy that I've worked with before. So he might call you, but he's probably not going to because he's really busy and he probably doesn't have time to do it either.
Yeah.
I was like, a little bit of communication.
Why did you come to my house?
Would have been nice.
Yeah.
Like, why did you drive all the way to my house?
Yeah.
And come?
Because he wanted a reason to not have to call back the guy that's waiting on him for something he quoted before. He's like, I'm too busy. I'm going to give another quote somewhere.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it. Do you not like money?
No, they have plenty of it.
Or he's too busy.
They have plenty of it.
Your job wasn't big enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess not. But it's like he has a full-time job, and so this is his hobby job.
Oh, yeah. You shouldn't have called him in the first place.
Yeah. Well, he was recommended very well for a good from a good friend of mine.
Did you call that friend back?
No.
You need to call that friend back and say, quit giving this guy's name out.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
Oh, and our friend listens to this podcast. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, they love to get that feedback. I mean, if I'm ever recommending folks and somebody had a bad experience with that person.
Oh yeah, I'll write them off. Like they're
well, no, but I mean, if I recommended Troy to do some video work, and then that person's like, yeah, I hired Troy to do some video work.
It was terrible.
It was terrible.
That will never happen.
But
yeah,
I'd like to know. Because I'm still telling people to hire you, and then you're going around and screwing up their videos. No, but yeah. Just,
hypothetically.
No, you wouldn't do that. And actually, I've recommended you and everything's always played out. But I mean, if you're given, like, somebody's like, hey, I'd like you to do this video. And you're like, no, but this guy here can do it. I'm booked that weekend. Here's a good wedding videographer or this videographer.
Yeah, I always recommend somebody else when I'm.
And if it was horrible, you'd want those people to call you and say, hey,
yeah, don't recommend that guy.
I don't know when you worked with this person before, but something happened.
Yeah.
Like, this is not good.
Yeah.
You'd want to know that.
Yeah, I'll definitely make that call. Because that would be good communication.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, the remodel business right now is going, because I do some stuff with Habitat for Humanity, and we have a home repair program where we contract out stuff to keep people in their home. It's like, it's not upgrade to put a podcast studio in. It's like literally, I don't have water in my bathroom, so I can't have proper hygiene kind of stuff. So we have this program, but yeah, one of our biggest struggles is finding parts, windows, siding, things like that. And then number 2 is we can't find people to work. Like, all the small contractors are booked out. They're extremely busy.
Yeah. So I'm also in a networking group, and we've had some, contractors come in there, or not really contractors, more like handymen come in, and they have a good little business going, and then they join our networking group, and it's just like their business kind of blows up, and they don't know how to handle it.
Right. Well, upfront and honest communication.
Yeah.
Like, your dude should have been, hey, thanks for the call. I'd love to work with you, but my current workload right now is so much that I'm not even going to come give you a quote.
Right.
Or
if
he was hoping for a big score, right? If this is like I'm rewiring a whole guy's house, that's a big project and would keep me busy, and that would be great. What do you need me to do?
Right.
Like, what do you want me to come out there and quote?
Well, and he did ask me, like, what you got going on? It's like, we're putting in, a couple new rooms downstairs. We need some stuff move around. He's like, oh yeah, I'll come take a look at it. And he came on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Which was odd.
Well, if he's working 5 days a week.
Right. So.
But yeah, if he shows that's the deal, man. That's so disheartening that somebody's going to show up. Oh, I know how big your job is. I'm going to show up, and then I'm going to ghost you.
Right.
Like, I don't even exist. I don't want your job.
Yeah. So I've already gotten a few other referrals from some other people. So hopefully one of those guys works out. And
well, that's why, like Adam, I gave Adam's name out multiple times, and he does HVAC work. And
oh yeah,
like Matt's, you've had him do a couple things out at your camp. Now he's working on your house, and like we had a neighborhood Facebook, deal.
Yeah.
Somebody, the loaded question. I gave a caveat, but it was, I've got a 13-year-old air conditioner. I need a recommendation for a technician that will come out here and make this last another 10 years.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, first off, a technician can't make a unit last 10 years, especially a 13-year-old unit.
Not guaranteed anyway.
There's a lot of variables in there. Like, if you don't change your filter for those 13 years, that air conditioner's not going to last. You know what I mean? But if you want somebody who knows what they're doing and is honest, because that's the other thing in the HVAC world anyway.
Oh yeah.
Honesty is a big deal.
Well, we found a really honest guy with our last house, older house, 100-year-old home, and the unit had been in there for, I can't remember, 15 years or so. And he came, we had 3 people come look at it, and they were like, yep, need a new unit. Yeah. Well, that's out of the question for, how long we knew we were going to be there and everything. And he came and looked at it, tweaked one thing, was like, yeah, that'll be $50, and just call me if anything else happens to it again. I'm like, you're my guy.
Dude, they had the whole to catch a predator on Dateline, where they had somebody post. That crew, same dude, like whatever his name was, I can't remember his name. They set up in Arizona to catch a HVAC repairman ripoff. Like, they set up the cameras. They did they had an actress that was playing a single mom in a home in Phoenix, and they had like the certified HVAC guy come out and like check the system. It was 13 years old, 14 years old, something like that. Run through everything and say, technically there's nothing wrong with this unit. We're going to pull the power disconnect out just a tad bit. And so it doesn't work. And then have the hidden cameras everywhere and call people. And they literally, it was a sting operator.
Right. Yeah.
They go, oh man, your capacitor shot and you're running low on refrigerant. We're going to have to replace your indoor coil, replace the capacitor, such and such, so-and-so. And, and then, give all the quotes and whatnot. And then they'd walk back to the truck and they'd come running out, oh, sir, with the microphone. You just checked a system that was just fine, but you told her, all this stuff. It was crazy. But one of the dealers that we had partnered with at my former company, one of the brands that we had, you want to talk about marketing 101 and how to get clients. The dude went through everything with a fine tooth comb, like checked the refrigerant, checked everything, checked the capacitor, had his, ohm meter out there doing everything. And he came in and he said, hey, your unit's old, but it's running, it's strong, had refrigerant. Your power disconnect for some reason was pulled. It wasn't making contact. So once I did that, everything fired back up and allowed me to check your system. You're good to go. Just want to let you know everything's good. And she's like, how much do I owe you? And he's like, nothing. Like you don't know anything.
Nice.
I didn't actually do anything in your system other than check it out. But here's my card. Since you have an older system, in the next 5 years, you're probably going to need to replace this thing. Why don't you give us a call when you do?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
sold.
He just sold an air conditioner. It's not coming around until, 3 or 4 years, but that person's going to recommend that company, from
hands down. Yeah.
But being honest, just truthful. I'm just going to tell you exactly what's going on. And it's hard to find people that you could trust. And in that case, I would say this guy wasn't honest because he just wasn't upfront that I'm not going to do it. He knew that. When he saw all the complications with the switches and all that kind of stuff, that dude knew in his mind, I don't want this job.
Yeah.
And he could have just said,
asking questions about, the box was on this outside wall and we had to go up and inside. And he's like, oh, I don't know. I could just.
Yeah, but he should have just said, look, this is way too complicated for me. This is my second job. I'm doing it off hours and I'm going to spend a whole lot more time here than I want to for the money I'm going to get paid for it. So
now here we are like 3 weeks down the road
and you don't have anything done.
No, just got some walls in my basement.
Yeah. Let me tell you what, you can do your own electrical. You should.
I don't have time for that.
Huh? Come on, man.
I really don't.
No.
You can learn.
Nope. Don't mess with that.
Oh, electrical.
That's why those people exist.
If you do something wrong, it just throws a breaker.
I've done electrical before. I'm not moving can lights and I'm not remodeling anything.
I'll tell you what, Chet, you come do my electrical.
Where?
In my barn out in Longton. I've already got everything that you need. Everything. I've got the service wire.
I'm expensive, Matt.
To wire it in.
I am expensive.
To the line.
Let me tell you how much I charge per
mile.
Bring
it down to the breaker box.
You already have all the copper purchased?
Yeah. All the wire is already run to each individual box. So you got to wire all the boxes in. And then, all the outlets, just wire those in. But you've got to run the service line from where it's cut, tie in, bring it down into the breaker box, tie it into the breaker box, do all the breakers and set all that up.
I typically only work on one side of the breaker box.
Well, do your own electrical.
Yeah. Well, everything in Troy's house is already on the right side of the breaker box. I may trade you like for 5 years of food plots at my deer lease.
No, that's a lot of money there.
Hey, I'm expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm with you. I actually had, I just called Adam because my AC was going out at the house and I've been dealing with this thing for 4 years and basically just kind of limped it along every season, and we just have to refill it with refrigerant basically, every season to keep it going because there's a leak somewhere. And I guess, this year was finally the year that it just decided big leak. It's not going to.
This is your indoor coil? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know why. But we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, it was done. So the coil was done. The condenser fan was the bearings or something were going out on it. So that needed to be replaced, you know? And so I asked him, I was like, well, how much is it going to be? And he said, well, here's how much I have to pay for these parts. And here's what I'm charging you for those parts.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's what I'm charging you for labor. And, you know, it came out to like $3,000, you know, and I was like, how much is a new one?
Yeah.
You know, and he goes, did his little numbers and he goes, here's what I'm paying for
The new system.
the system. Here's what I'm charging you.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm charging to install it. And he goes, probably $6,000. And I was like, yeah, let's just do that.
Yeah.
I go for $3,000 more. I said, I get a 10-year warranty on the stuff. And
Yeah.
you know, that's fine. Whereas with this, I get 1 year on the parts,
Mm-hmm.
and home warranty didn't want to cover it, which, you know, didn't figure they would anyway, but worth the try. And then, so through him, I was like, well, I want to look at doing, kind of a patio area on my back porch because we have a west facing, back patio. And when you try to sit out there in the evening, you know, as the sun's going down in the summer, it gets just hot because there's no shade. And so I was like, let's build something here. And I was like, do you know a guy? And because I said, I need a general contractor to head this up. And he goes, well, matter of fact, my brother-in-law. And so I just met with them this week. They came out to the house and looked at it and said, okay, let's get some measurements and let's, you know, get an idea of what you want to do. And he goes, just so you know, he goes, I don't know how fast you're wanting this. He goes, but I mean, we're looking, you know, middle to end of summer before we can even start on this. And I was like,
Great communication.
perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
Like,
That's
hey,
good.
I said, expectation, right?
Yeah.
I said,
I don't know what your timeline is, but here's mine.
yeah. I said, that's perfectly fine. I was like, I just need somebody that I can trust. And I said, you came from a good reference that I trust. And he trusts you. And so, yeah, let's just move forward, get some quotes. So I'm just, we're waiting for them to drop some plans, make it look cool and go from there.
Yeah.
But managing that expectation up front, like, yeah, I'm packed right now. He goes, everybody, you know, through COVID and everything like that, just nobody could go anywhere. And he goes, everybody's just sitting out on their patios or wherever, just looking at projects. We should probably just go ahead and do that since we're spending more time at home. And he goes, we've just been stacked
Yeah.
doing
Which
restoration
allows
type
people to
stuff.
have horrible service, not call people back, but that guy's still going to get hired. He's not,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
going to run out of business.
Yeah.
He's just going to upset a whole lot more people as he's going right now because the demand's so great.
Yeah. But when that trails off, he's going to be one of the first ones to go
Yeah.
because he's burned a lot of people, and that will get around.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Communication, man.
good luck. Good luck with your electrical work.
Now, I will say that, is that all you need is electrical?
Well, that's the next step. So electrical, then sheetrocking, and
Because, I mean, you do the electrical and I can sheetrock.
We're expensive though.
What do you think?
We're expensive.
I mean, $9 grand, $10,000.
I need to look at all this electrical. I mean, there are contractors out there that are not even taking this job, so it's probably pretty complicated. I don't blind quote.
it is not that bad.
20 grand to be safe. I think we're good.
Yeah.
You in?
No thanks.
Yeah,
I mean, I used to do
someone
that.
cheaper.
I used to do that for a living. So
yeah. I've
not
done it.
not the electrical though.
I
don't
wired
touch
my whole basement.
Because, you know, in the old trophy room, you know, that wall that the TV hangs on, I built that wall.
Ah.
The one that you lean on, and it's like, whoa, did that just move?
I built a wall in our last house.
Yeah.
Looked great.
Well, the problem
I tear down walls.
Yeah.
I don't build walls.
MAGA
Like the Kool-Aid
built
man.
that wall. No, I think the problem with the one in the office, the reason it's so wobbly at one end is because the rafters in that building are like 20 feet high. And so in order to try to tie that in, I had to run a top plate and then run another one up to try to tie it in. And just, there's no stability there
Yeah.
because it's not meant to be there. But
Yeah.
All right.
still hasn't fallen down. That TV is holding, and we've had some earthquakes, and that wall's still there. No cracks in it like the other walls. So
Because the whole wall moves. That's why it's not
I
cracking.
built it. I thought of that when I built it.
That's nice. All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back with our top 3 resume don'ts.
1797, establishing dominance. A young nation begins the formation of the world's most formidable fleet of naval ships with the commissioning of its first ship, the U.S. frigate Constellation. A lively blend of rosemary, lemon, and peppermint, 1797 is a great blend to start your day. It has a great awakening quality with a minty kick. Much like stepping out on a deck of a ship cruising the brisk ocean waters, this blend will give you that early morning boost. 1797, establishing dominance.
Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
Welcome back.
We're back.
We are back, and we're going to go to Matt with number 3 on your top 3 resume don'ts.
Top 3 resume don'ts from a guy who's only read them and hasn't written one in 15 years. When I'm reading through a resume, the first thing I kind of look for is that little attention getter. That little line of here's how I can help you. Mm-hmm. Here's what I'm good at. These are my strengths, blah, blah, blah. That gives me like a real snapshot of what the rest of the resume is about. It's quick.
Straight to the point.
I can get right through it and be like, bam, I like that. Sweet. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I really like the attention getters.
So don't leave out the attention getter.
Don't skip. That's what I said. Don't skip the attention getter.
Okay.
I don't think that was clear. Thank you, Chet.
Yeah. He got our attention.
With the one-liners.
Yeah.
But don't leave it out.
Don't leave it out.
All right, good.
Number 2, less is more. I don't need a 500-page resume. I don't need an entire biography of the last. We had one come in that
6 pages long.
It was 6 pages long, and not one of those jobs was this person at more than a year. It was like 10 years of 10 jobs.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe more. I think it was actually more because some of them were like 6 months, and they were all in the same city.
But we're glad you did that because we just moved on.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of tells you a lot. But hey, if you're a legit person out there, we don't need all that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Write a biography. Don't put it on your resume, right?
Depending upon the job, though. I mean, you should, if you got 20 years in your career, you shouldn't have a 1-page resume. It should be, 2-3 pages long, succinct, but still with enough that's detailing there, as long as you're not applying for an entry-level job somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know. I just...
Right out the window.
Sometimes.
And those get comments. Like, there's some that you just read and you don't even talk about. That one still, that one got comments like, "Can you believe this?"
Yeah, that's a don't.
Yeah,
that's a don't. And my number 1, it's so easy. Spell check. Don't misspell words.
Yeah,
it's so easy. If I'm reading through there and I catch a grammatical, I don't know. I pay more attention to that than I probably should. But it's an attention to detail thing, and if you don't have that attention, then probably not going to be a good fit. That's my number 1.
All right. Well, I'll go. This one's for my number 3 is for all the people that read resumes. So your HR people, typically. So I worked for a large organization, and whenever you posted a job, you talked to HR would go do all that. Then HR would get all the resumes and filter through them and then send you what they thought you were looking for based on the conversation that you had.
Yeah.
And then when, they'd hand you some resumes, let's just say I had a senior level job that was posted and put it out there, and then you'd get like 3 resumes. And I'm like, how many did you get? Oh, we got like 47. These are the best 3 out of all of those 47. Based on our conversation, this is what we got. And it could have been they didn't like that there was 2 pages. So people that write 2-page resumes, yeah, I'm getting rid of those. Or it could have been, I thought I saw a grammatical error, so I'm not even going to forward this up, to the deal. Which one of the things I'm thinking about is peoples. People think you misspell peoples when you spell peoples. It's the guy's last name. It's not like the word
Right.
people. But and then I'm like, well, no, just send me all 47. I'll go through them. And then typically what you would find is the best candidates that you would want for your role were weeded out by the HR people because they were looking at the trees and weren't looking at the forest, the overall forest of the candidate. Right. So I'm looking for a candidate. I'm not looking for a perfect resume. So if it's a format that you don't like, then I don't care. Like, or, oh, they just use a standard template in Word, so I didn't pass that one on to you. Like, I want the information. I don't care how it's formatted. Right. I'm not hiring a resume formatting expert, so that was my HR people. The don't get so down into the weeds that you're missing the overall picture of what we're looking at. Number 2, don't highlight your positions so much, your titles that you've had. Highlight your accomplishments. So I don't care what your title was. You could look at vice president title. That covers, you could be a vice president and make $20,000 a year, or you could be a vice president and make $20 million a year. So don't, I was vice president, whatever. What were you responsible for? Who, how many people were in your structure? How many people reported to you? What was your budget size? Those kinds of things. Like get down to the accomplishments, the things that you did, the projects that you managed, and not so much on, I had this job title, this job title, this job title. And then the number 1 rule of a do not embellish. Don't make anything out to be bigger than it actually is. If you are on a team that accomplished XYZ, your resume should say you were on a team that accomplished XYZ. You shouldn't say I accomplished XYZ. Because when you get into the actual interview and you start asking some details, and then it comes out that you played a very significant role on a team that accomplished that, then I'm wondering why you didn't say you played a significant role on a team that accomplished that, and you were trying to take credit for the whole thing. That's my number 1.
All right.
What you got, Troy?
Number 3, hobbies and interests. Don't put them on there.
Don't put a hobbies and interests on there?
Yeah, I don't see the point.
Now, see, I would look at that and I'd be like, oh, I can relate to this guy. I'd like to work with this guy because we have similar hobbies and interests. And now if he's qualified the rest of the way, that's somebody I want to work with because I have to deal with him every day, personally.
Yeah, or if you're going for a sales role and like your hobbies are playing video games and you have somebody who has the same qualifications, hobbies playing golf, probably going to win because you go play golf with clients. You don't log in with Call of Duty with clients. Well, maybe you do today. I don't know.
I'm just saying I don't think those need to be on the resume.
Yeah.
All that stuff's going to come up in an interview. Or it should, right?
They think you're well-rounded enough to get in there. You got to get through HR.
That's
and
true.
If that HR is like,
True.
This guy, he likes to bowl. I'm sending him on. I love bowling.
Need a new HR person.
Yeah. My whole career. All but one.
You need a Don Trussell.
This guy?
No.
You need a Don Trussell.
Yeah.
2 grammatical errors. I'm with you there, Matt. Yeah, you got to know how to use a computer to check those grammatical errors.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty important.
It takes 2 seconds.
Right. Right click, fix. Boom.
So talking about embellishing and knowing how to use a computer, I had a guy that had to train. I did not hire way early on in my career. And they're like, oh, why did you hire this guy? I kind of knew him. They promoted him into a role. And like, well, we looked at his resume and he had all this computer experience and all this kind of stuff. And, now that we've hired him into this role, you need to train him on how to do the such and such report. And I'm like, okay. So we sat down and he had one of the little notepads with the spiral, you know what I'm talking about, that'd fit in like a front pocket.
Oh, yeah.
And I sat him down at my desk and I had a program open that was not relevant to what I needed to train him on. And so I closed it out to open up the other program. And he's like, wait a minute. And I'm like, what? He's like, how'd you make that disappear? And I said,
X at the top, right?
I literally went up to the top and hit the X. Oh, starts writing down his notepad, X at top right, makes programming. And I'm like, do you even know how to use a computer? He's like, no. I'm like, they send your resume. He's like, yeah, but my cousin wrote that for me. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Resume, don't let your cousin write your resume.
Write your resume.
Anyway.
That leads me to my number one. Do not lie on your resume. Period. It will come out.
Yeah.
And you will look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Some people don't mind if they look like an idiot as long as they got the
Well,
job.
that's true. That's true.
There's plenty of those.
Especially people that don't.
So what would be your
skills.
Resume dues? Like what should a person
Be truthful.
It depends on what role you're going for. If it's technical, it needs to be technical. If it's leadership, it needs to demonstrate a track record of leadership.
Yeah.
It's varied based on what I look for. But I don't know. I think that there's so much, and we've seen this. Like, Matt and I have been through the hiring process several times. Your resume is just a door for me as a hiring manager, is a doorway to a phone call.
Right. Or an interview. Yeah.
Phone call first.
Phone interview and then an in-person after that.
You could typically fish out, I don't want this person here after talking to him on the phone. Like, if you see the resume, have that phone conversation, you could kind of determine whether or not. And then you get some candidates in that are mostly all qualified, and then you're going to pick the best. Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on a resume just to get that phone call in there. And I don't like it. And I already talked about it when HR interferes with that, like because of some preconceived, I went to training and they said, never do this. And they did that. And I'll tell you, one of the most ingenious things I ever saw, it wasn't for a position that I had, but it was, one of the places I worked. Somebody had their resume screen printed on a cake and just dropped it off at reception with a folder with like 10 copies of her resume.
That's kind of cool.
Was she applying for a cake job?
No, but that resume made it into the break room, and everybody was like, holy cow. Like this is so smart. Like we all know her name now because they're like, who, you started cutting at the bottom of the resume. They're like, oh my, what is she applying for? We don't even have an opening, but we're all talking. We didn't have an opening. We weren't hired for anybody, but she literally got all the people, the hiring managers in the break room talking about how smart she was to get some attention by dropping off a cake. And, I think a couple of them walked out with a actual hard copy of her resume. That's a pretty good idea.
That's pretty genius.
I need to figure out a way to put a resume on a pork butt.
Yes.
Just drop them off around town.
Or that's how you should do your resignation letter. It's just a cake. It's screen printed on a cake.
Yeah, there you go. Enjoy.
Yeah. I quit.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so we're going to move on to a good word with Matt.
Oh,
Matt,
that's me.
Yeah, that's you.
So we are day 21, and I kind of alluded to it at the beginning of the podcast when I said doggone it.
Oh.
The title of this one is The Doggone Truth.
The Doggone Truth.
Comes out of Mark 7, verses 25 through 30, and it says, immediately a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him and came and fell down at his feet. Now the woman was a Gentile, a Syro-Phoenician by birth, and she begged him to cast the demon out of her daughter. And he said to her, let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. But she answered him, yes, Lord, yet even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. And he said to her, for this statement you may go on your way. The demon has left your daughter. And she went home and found the child lying on the bed and the demon gone. So this one, and I tried to read through because I was pretty unprepared for this one today, Chet. Thank you.
Shocker.
I asked him to send this to me yesterday, and I just got it just now, so I haven't had time to study. But I think it, really to me that just comes down to humility and recognizing what the power of Christ and saying, "Hey, I need some help, and I have nothing. I'm literally I have nothing to offer, but I believe in you, and I have faith in who you are and what you can do, and I think it's that faith that he just said, awesome,
Yeah.
Based on that, go home.
Yeah.
She's healed.
Well, because a lot of times we want to take responsibility for and ownership over some things that he'd rather do for us if we just asked.
Kind of like taking that credit on a resume.
Yeah.
That you really don't have any part in. So I think it just comes down to faith. Anyway, it's my good word.
I like it.
That's the doggone truth.
The doggone truth. Doggone it.
Yeah.
That is. All right. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, which we're about to tell you in the outro right here.
That's right. Hey, we still got t-shirts on sale and stuff too. So if you want some swag, go check out our website, hardheadedpodcast.com. Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.